I'm Bambi Francisco for Vader TV, the network for innovators. Well, Zilok is often referred to as the eBay or Craigslist for rentals. Well, joining me to talk about Zilok is Jeff Bougier. He launched Zilok in the U.S. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And congratulations, you just had an official launch. You've been around since November of 2007, but you officially launched the site in the U.S. What's the difference between the beta and what's out today?
Well, really, the beta was for us an opportunity to bring in a new community of users and see really what was relevant and not in terms of categories, in terms of features. On Zilok, it's the online rental marketplace. So anybody can offer anything for rent to the community. And by anything, it could be a sports car, it could be a fancy purse, it could be some cultural goods, it could be really anything. And so it was very important for us to test every single one of these categories with actual people. And they were able to tell us, well, where can I list my sewing machine? There is no such category. Why don't I get a text message when somebody wants to rent out something from me? You know? So this was really an important phase for us to understand how we could really lay out the process and what would be the most interesting ways of interacting between people and with people between each other. So
you've been out since November. What's the uptake? What's happening now? How many people are on there? What type of goods are being rented? What's the more popular categories? Yeah,
this has been a very exciting phase because we've got a lot of attention from press and media about our concept. The idea is very much liked.
How many people are on the site, or what's being rented? I've actually taken a look at it. It's kind of fun. But what are you renting? A bunch of office chairs, mechanical bowls? I think that's kind of cute and useful. But how many items are on there for rent?
Right now we have about 15,000 items for rent, plus a very large inventory that corresponds to rental businesses, because we try to promote renting as a way of consuming as opposed to buying. So we're welcoming also all the rental businesses to come on our site and have their offerings.
How big
on
is
the
that
website.
business, the rental business, and who's doing that today?
Oh, the rental industry, it's actually an $85 billion industry in the United States.
Wow.
Of course, in there's a lot of construction equipment, things that are not really relevant to our site, but really it's a very important industry. When you want to rent a tool, when you want to rent a truck, when you want to rent a costume, a tuxedo.
So you're starting off with peer-to-peer for smaller items, but the big money and consistent really is when you tap into those big construction companies or tuxedo companies, the existing industry.
That is an existing industry, and it's a very interesting way for us to support our business on something that's already there. But really, what Zilok is providing this new way of consuming from people to people, and the whole peer-to-peer renting is really the basis of our mission statement.
And do you have a sense of how big that market is?
It's really growing. It's hard to tell. We think that it is going to be much larger in our activity than the activity that is coming from the rental businesses, because people are very catchy on this idea.
And so when you think about peer-to-peer, what do you think people are actually going to be renting? I mean, like I mentioned, like office chairs, iPods. I mean, I don't... those are the items. What do you think is going to be the very active type of rentals?
Right now, the most asked for items are digital cameras.
People rent digital cameras?
Yes. And lots of people need occasionally a digital camera to go to their cousin's wedding or to do something like this. Also, Nintendo Wii's, for some reason, are very popular right now.
And then how do you deal with the trust issue? Is it because you're just rating people, or what?
Yes, trust is really a primary concern. when we designed the site, and we kept improving it. So from day one, there was a series of layers of trust between people. One is, like you mentioned, community ratings. It's a 360 degrees community rating. You rent the owner, you rent the renter, you rent the actual object that you've rented. And then there is other security layers. There is a deposit system. So when you have somebody walk out with one of your objects, you keep this deposit. So that's very important.
Is it $100? I saw that $100 flat fee.
You set it up the way that you want it to be.
Wow.
There is also rental agreements. So we lay out contracts. So everything is actually put in writing in advance.
Okay. How are you different from eRento, Hire Things, Rent Online, or Rent Mine Online, some of the others that are kind of similar?
They are all very different. If you want to talk about them, eRento has been launched for a while, but they specialize in the rental business marketplace.
Okay.
So you will find their listings from businesses.
Okay.
We want really to do something new,
which is peer-to-peer.
Which is peer-to-peer renting, and which is a growing trend. We can talk about that later if you want. Then you mentioned Hire Things. They're a startup based in New Zealand, and entirely based in New Zealand. So what we do is we try to really promote that model on a very international scale, because we're already present in 4 countries, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, United States. And you mentioned also Rent Mine Online. They are based on social networking features. So it's for other kind of items. It's more for very valuable items, such as vacation rentals, your house, your secondary house. You want to rent it to someone, but you need them to be friends. So you rely on your social networking to actually do that. So we are very different, and I think the best way to understand really what we're trying to do is to go back to our mission statement, which is supporting and developing peer-to-peer renting as a new community-driven and sustainable way of consuming. There's these 3 components: the new, which is the peer-to-peer renting way of consuming; the sustainable, because it's a way of preventing waste of natural resources, of protecting the environment. You reuse, you recycle, you can rent. And the third aspect is community driven, because every transaction is local. It's about connecting with your community, with your neighbors, finding your local rental stores.
Right. And your model right now is that you just take a fee, but there's no listing fee, you just take a fee of that transaction.
Today it is still the case, but definitely our business model is one of a marketplace.
Okay, and are you looking for funding? Because you did have a seed round, but are you looking
Today we're not looking for funding.
Okay, because you can operate this in a pretty cost-effective way.
We have done that.
Okay.
And today we have found a partner, a European partner, that is going to accompany us through this new stage.
Oh, I see. So you have a strategic investor.
So we have a strategic investor.
Okay. How much did you raise?
It is not disclosed,
okay.
unfortunately.
Okay, Jeff. Well, congratulations on your launch.
Well, thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Jeff Bouget of Zilok. I'm Bambi Francisco.